The winter of 2011 was brutal, especially when your only shelter is a beat-up 1998 Honda Civic. I was 17 when I learned how to survive in that car. I knew which parking lots were quiet and safe, how to wash up in gas station bathrooms, and where to find free Wi-Fi so I could keep applying for jobs. I had $143 to my name, 3 changes of clothes in my backpack, and my laptop, the one thing I managed to grab before my father threw me out. All because I wouldn't give up my dream of starting a tech company and join his construction crew. "You think you're too good for honest work?" he shouted that night. "You want to waste your life on computers? Fine, do it somewhere else." My mother stood silently in the corner, tears streaming down her face. My little sister, Madeline, watched from the stairs, too frightened to speak. Only my older brother Marcus looked satisfied, smirking as Dad tossed my stuff onto the lawn. "Get out." Those were the last words he said to me. "Come back when you're ready to grow up and join the real world." That night, parked behind a 24-hour Walmart, I made myself a promise. I'd build something so big, so undeniable, that one day they'd have to admit they were wrong about me. During the day, I bounced between coffee shops and public libraries, scavenging free Wi-Fi to teach myself how to code. YouTube tutorials, online courses, message boards, I devoured it all. At night, I wrapped myself in blankets in the back seat, coding until my laptop battery died. Eventually, I landed a dishwashing job at a local diner. The owner, Ms. Chen, let me park my car behind the building. It was safer than the Walmart lot, and sometimes she'd leave extra food for me without saying a word. "You're a smart kid," she said once, watching me code during my break, "but don't let this be the whole story." 3 months later, I caught my first real break. A small startup needed a basic website. I'd been practicing web development and decided to shoot my shot. They paid me $500. I couldn't believe it. That check let me rent a tiny room in a shared house, barely bigger than my car, but it had a Real bed, a hot shower, and steady internet. I kept the diner job but poured every free minute into freelance coding. One website turned into another. Soon I was earning more freelancing than scrubbing dishes. One morning, Ms. Chen caught me dozing over my laptop before my shift. Instead of scolding me, she sat down across from me. "What are you working on?" I told her about my idea for a software platform, one that would help small restaurants manage orders, deliveries, and customer relationships. I'd seen firsthand how much time and stress those things cost her. "How much would you charge for something like that?" she asked. "For you? Nothing. You've already helped me more than you know." She shook her head. "If it's worth building, it's worth paying for. I'll be your first real customer." That conversation changed everything. Ms. Chen didn't just become my first client, she became my first believer. She spread the word to other restaurant owners, let me test my software at her place, and gave me the kind of feedback only someone in the trenches could offer. I called my company Serve Smarter, and I built it piece by piece while still working the diner shifts. Slowly, word got out. Restaurant owners appreciated that I understood their pain points, I'd lived them. By the time I turned 18, 20 restaurants were using Serve Smarter. On my 19th birthday, I quit the diner job after signing my first big client, a regional chain with 50 locations. That night, Ms. Chen surprised me with a cake after closing. "Congratulations, CEO," the frosting read in uneven letters. "I'm not really a CEO," I laughed, "just a guy who got lucky." She looked at me with steady eyes. "You lived in your car, taught yourself to code, and built something real while working minimum wage. That's not luck, that's grit." As we celebrated, I thought about my family. They had no idea their irresponsible son was running a growing tech company. Through Madeline, who secretly kept in touch, I knew my dad's construction business was floundering in the digital age. Marcus, ever loyal to the family trade, was better at spending money than earning it. The years that followed were a whirlwind. Serve Smarter expanded into full business operations software. We opened our first office, hired a team, and raised venture capital. With every milestone, I felt further from that cold Civic, and closer to the proof I'd always needed. But I never forgot what those nights in the car taught me: how to stay hungry, how to be resourceful, and how to turn rejection into fuel. Just last week, 5 years after being cast out of my childhood home, I opened an email that made my heart skip. It was a job application from Marcus. Followed, minutes later, by one from my father. Turner Construction had finally collapsed. They were looking for fresh starts, unaware they had just applied to a company built by the very person they'd once abandoned. Tomorrow, I'd be conducting their interviews, personally. The boy they left in a parking lot was now the CEO of a company valued north of $100 million. And the time had come for them to meet the man he had become. I stood in front of my office window, adjusting my tie as the morning sun painted the skyline in gold. The same city that once turned its back on me now glittered at my feet. David, my assistant, appeared at the door. "Your 9 a.m. is here. Mr. Marcus Turner." I smiled. That smirk from the night I was thrown out flashed through my mind. "Give me 5 minutes," I said. "Then send him in." I took my seat, turning my chair to face the window as the door opened behind me. I heard him step in, then hesitate. "Please, have a seat," I said, still facing the skyline. "Thank you for meeting with me," Marcus began, voice tinged with that same smug confidence. "I've been following Serve Smarter's growth. Impressive stuff. With my background in construction management, I think I could really help with your expansion into the sector." I turned to face him slowly. The expression on his face, confusion, dawning recognition, then disbelief, was priceless. "Daniel," he breathed. "What the hell? That's Mr. Turner," I said coolly. "Or CEO Turner, if you prefer. Now, about your application." His face flushed. "This is a joke. You're the CEO? You? The kid who thought he was too good for real work." I tapped on my tablet, pulling up his resume. 10 years at Turner Construction. Site manager to VP of operations. But, notable losses under your leadership. Care to explain? He shifted in his chair. The market changed. Tech disrupted everything. Tech? I arched a brow. You mean the waste of time I was playing with when you helped toss me out? Before he could answer, my phone buzzed. "Sir, your 9:30 is early. Mr. James Turner." "Perfect. Send him in." The door opened again, and my father walked in, grayer, slower, the weight of failure hanging heavy on his shoulders. He froze when he saw me, then turned to Marcus in confusion. "What is this?" "Have a seat," I said, gesturing to the chair beside Marcus. "We were just discussing the downfall of Turner Construction." His eyes narrowed. "If this is revenge." "Revenge?" I gave a dry laugh. "No. This is a job interview. You both applied. I'm just doing my due diligence." I stood, walking back to the window and taking in the city below. "Tell me, Dad, what was it you said the night you threw me out? Something about the real world?" He didn't answer, but I could see him in the reflection, silent, staring. "Well, this is the real world. A world shaped by innovation, not hammers and blueprints. A world where a homeless teenager built something out of nothing." I turned back to face them. "You wrote me off because I wouldn't follow your blueprint. You called me arrogant, irresponsible. You saw a kid with a laptop. Not a founder. Not a future." Marcus stood, angry. "We don't need your pity." "Good," I said evenly. "Because I'm not offering any." I pressed a button on my desk. A massive screen lit up, displaying our latest project, a comprehensive platform to revolutionize construction logistics, project management, resource allocation, automated scheduling. Everything Turner Construction never adapted to. We're hiring industry consultants to help tailor this product. People with field experience. My father's eyes lingered on the screen, his expression betraying interest despite himself. "The pay is strong. Full benefits. But there are conditions," I said. "What kind of conditions?" he asked, voice quieter now. "First, both positions are entry-level. No exceptions. Everyone earns their place here." They both stiffened, but I continued. "Second, you'll report directly to Ms. Chen, our head of client relations." "The diner woman?" Marcus scoffed. "She works here. She's a founding partner," I said firmly. "And the reason I survived long enough to build this company." Silence fell. I let it linger. "You see, I remember everything," I said, voice calm but resolute. I remember the lawn. The bags. The words you thought I'd forget. But I also remember the lessons, how to be hungry, how to hustle, how to build something that matters. I leaned forward slightly. You can choose to be part of the future, or cling to a past that's already buried. Marcus clenched his jaw. My father looked at the screen, then at me. And for the first time in my life, I saw it in their eyes, not dominance, not pity, but respect. I corrected sharply. She believed in me when my own family threw me away. She earned her position, unlike some people. I sat back down, folding my hands on the desk between us. And the final condition, you'll need to apologize, not to me, but to Meline. They both stiffened. Why Meline? Dad asked, his tone more defense than curiosity. Because she's carried the guilt of that night for 5 years. She still calls me sometimes, crying, apologizing for not standing up to you. She's my executive assistant now, started in the mailroom and worked her way up. Right on cue, the door opened. Meline stepped inside, no longer the frightened teen who once hid in the shadows, but a poised young woman with purpose in her stride. Dad and Marcus turned, stunned. Maddie, Marcus whispered, you've been here all this time? She came to stand beside my desk, chin held high. Someone had to be there for Daniel, she said, because real family doesn't throw each other away. Silence stretched between us. I could see it in my father's face, the war between pride and practicality. The choice is yours, I said, 2 good jobs, real futures, or your pride. You have until the end of the day to decide. And if we refuse? Marcus challenged. I smiled. Then you can leave the same way you made me leave, nothing but your convictions to keep you warm at night. They walked out in silence, father and son, united in their confusion. Meline stayed behind, her eyes shimmered with emotion. Do you think they'll take the jobs? She asked quietly. They will, I replied. Dad's too practical not to. And Marcus? He's always followed Dad's lead. I was right. By close of business, both had accepted. Next week, they'd start at the bottom, learning the very technology they once mocked. That evening, I returned to Ms. Chen's diner, the same one where I washed dishes and dreamed of something more. She still ran it, even as she helped lead serve Smarter's client relations. How'd it go? She asked, placing a warm slice of apple pie in front of me. I told her everything, the interviews, the silence, the anger, the eventual acceptance. Are you going to forgive them? She asked gently. I thought of those freezing nights in my car, the long days, the grinding climb. Forgiveness isn't the point, I said. They needed to learn the world is bigger than their definition of success. Maybe now, they will. She nodded. From homeless to CEO, she said, you've come a long way. We've come a long way, I corrected. I wouldn't be here if you hadn't believed in me. Outside, the sun dipped below the skyline. Somewhere out there, my father and brother were starting over in a world I had built. Their homeless failure had become their CEO. Their discarded son had built an empire. Sometimes the best revenge isn't making people suffer. It's showing them exactly what they lost when they gave up on you. And sometimes the greatest success isn't proving others wrong. It's proving yourself right. Next week, my family would begin again, under the leadership of the boy they left behind. The 17-year-old who once slept in his car could finally rest easy, knowing his dream had become their salvation. That's the thing about success. It's the perfect answer to anyone who ever told you you weren't good enough. And sometimes, the people who throw you away end up working for the person they threw.